If this video is a bit TLDR for you, then I made a shorter video comparing these two devices where I just give my conclusion. This though is a full comparison between the SuperNote A6X and the Boox Nova Air. Two great devices. My short conclusion of the best way to make that choice is you're going to buy the Boox Nova Air if you want to replace a tablet, but you're going to buy the SuperNote A6X if you just want to replace a notebook and you want to use things like tablets or computers as well. So in this video, I'm going to compare them in all these categories, and hopefully that will help you make a decision if you're thinking between these two devices. Let's get started. I'm going to talk about the design first of all, and that's really tough. They're both really well designed devices. They're different designs though. This has a plastic exterior and this has more metals, which allows it to do things like the magnetic snap and have a few more features built into it, and the snap of the pen to it as well. Also on the case, you can have these buttons which let you page turn. So this is a really great reader as well as a notebook. So the SuperNote has a design a bit like the Remarkable One. The Boox has design a bit like a tablet, but from a few years ago. So neither of them are cutting edge design. The SuperNote has a minimal but elegant design, whereas the Boox has a bit more of a solid but techie design. I'm personally going to go just for the SuperNote. It meets my kind of design preferences that little bit more. Neither are really groundbreaking, but both are really nicely designed. So it's 1-0. The next category is ease of use, and I do think that's worth considering. If you're not a very techie person, I would say that getting to know all of the different things that the Boox can do, all of the different ways of navigating around, probably not going to be for you. If you are, however, a techie person, then that's great, and you'll learn it really easily because it's essentially just an Android tablet. It has a really familiar set of tools like forward, backward, recents. All of the settings are in the place you'd expect to find them if you're used to using an Android phone. Whereas the SuperNote, you will pretty much turn it on, start writing, and be able to do things like make yourself a table of contents and use all the features that it has. Those features are easy to use, very easy to get started doing everything you can do with the SuperNote, whereas the Boox takes a bit of setting up, simply because you're gonna have to spend time reading a manual for this Boox. I'm gonna give the ease of use category to the SuperNote. So 2-0. For reading on, both have great screens, and it's a really close run thing. However, the Boox has the backlight, which can be warm or cold, bright or not so bright, and it's going to be a bit more familiar in terms of being like an e-reader. What's more is you can have loads of different reading apps, including Kindle, Kobo, all of the different ones. Anywhere you keep your digital library, you'll be able to find the Boox for the Boox device. And also you can use the Boox reader itself and get lots of public domain books that you can just read on it straight away. The SuperNote's not bad, of course, because you can also have the Kindle app on it. I haven't set it up on this one just yet, but if you're a Kindle user and you want to use this as your main reader, then it's a really good choice. Just remember that you won't have the backlight, and you'll either be transferring your own ebook files onto the device to read or reading through the Kindle app. They might add a different choice of apps later on, but for now, those are your choices. I'll just say both of them, being this small and light size, are really good for being an e-reader because you could use it as your bedtime reader or indeed your beach reader. If you're primarily going to use one of these as a reader, then one of this smaller size device is a good choice. And having the ability to write notes on it as well just makes it that really great productivity device as well. But for reading, I'm going to give it to the Boox device because of all the options that you've got there. So it's 2-1. Portability and battery life. Well, portability is the reason you're going to buy one of these smaller devices. It's hard to choose between them for that reason. They've both also got excellent battery lives because, well, that's one of the main reasons to buy into an e-ink screen. I will confess I haven't tested them out extensively. I think you'd get quite a lot of difference with the Boox depending on how you use it. But I know that the A6X will give you about a week at least of battery life just from normal use. If you rarely use the Android apps, things like screen sharing, or if you don't use the lights on full power, then you will also get excellent battery life out of any of the Boox devices, and this one's no slouch. I don't think I've charged it since I've had it, to be honest. So it's a tie. They're the type of thing that you could just chuck into a bag and forget it's there, only remembering to charge it when it gets down to 20%, and it will kind of never let you down. Writing is a difficult category. It's the core aim of this device, and you'd think that this would be the best. I think this device really fits the creative process of somebody who is a writer. That's why their tagline is for those who write. Many other e-ink devices are great for people who like to think visually, but the SuperNote I think is the one to go for if you are a writer. And that's whether it's creative writing, journalism or anything, or just somebody who needs to write out their ideas to get them down and keep them for whatever your projects are. So like if you sit down to write from scratch at any point in your professional life, you'll get along really well with this device. And you can also go straight into Word documents, which you can then send to yourself or access from the cloud. And then you can carry on editing those and work them up on a full computer. I think it's got a great place in a professional writer of any kind's workflow. It's a great device. Boox is no slouch, of course, either, and it does have full apps. Although editing Word documents on here is not going to be a completely seamless experience. I really like the fact that you can use a Gboard, which makes me feel right at home because I'm an Android user. And you can also use a Bluetooth keyboard, so you could literally carry a small Bluetooth keyboard and this thing, and you could be typing away. So if you know that fits your workflow, and if you're used to typing and really quick typing, then I think that's a really great option. But for me, it's not something that I'd like to just type on this here. I think you'd get along with a small laptop or Chromebook if you did primarily want to type. But if you know that in your writing you do need to access those apps and get and use those, then you can do that on a Boox device. So this category, we're going to give it to the SuperNote, and it's free one now. You have to get used to the different swipe gestures on the Onyx Boox. Swipe down is the settings essentially. Swipe up from the middle is home. Swipe up from the left is accessing your recents pile, which of course you can clean out there or access any app or close any individual app, just like on an Android phone or tablet, because it is one. Audio visual is not something that you're going to be buying one of these for. However, the Boox does have some audiovisual features. It does have a microphone and it does have 2 speakers. The thing that I like about that is that in the note-taking app, which by the way is one of the most extensive set of tools and possibilities of any device, and that's one thing to remember about this device, you don't need to use Android apps to get the most out of it. The apps that Onyx Boox have actually designed for this tablet are really good. For example, within the note-taking, you can call up an audio note, which will save to the notes. And by pressing on that, in the note-taking, you can call up an audio note, which will save. So that could be really useful in note-taking for any professional or student. That's a really powerful feature that very few e-ink devices have. In lectures or in meetings, being able to save those quick audio recordings could be really powerful. And you could use apps like Audible, for example, or any podcasting apps with it as well. You could attach headphones by Bluetooth or via the OTG USB. There's so many options with Boox devices, and if you know you want to use those options, it's definitely going to be the device for you. The one thing about the Boox as well is, of course, it's got this e-ink screen, and that's not going to be very good for high refresh rate content like video content. I don't see why anyone would want to watch videos on these devices anyway. But in the e-ink center, you do have the option of different screen modes. I very rarely change mine from the normal mode, which is the best balance between speed and accuracy, because what you can have, and you can probably just about see these things now, is this ghosting of previous layers when it tries to do fast refreshing. So it's far better for me, in my opinion, far better to use it on just a normal mode and expect it to behave like an e-ink screen, not expect to want to watch videos on it. I don't really know why these things are here. However, if you do need to use a certain Android app, then there may be a way to actually optimize the screen such that it will work in a usable way. So that's why those modes are there. As you can see, the really familiar backwards, home and recents buttons are there from any Android device. So for audiovisual, well, it's gonna go to the Boox. I would really love to try out for you soon the Boox Nova Color, and color e-ink I know is something that people are really excited about, and that could make this actually a viable audiovisual device. Still, you're never gonna get to the point where you're gonna watch videos on this over and above anything with an LCD or OLED screen. It's not gonna happen. Apart from maybe videos can look pretty arty when they're shown on this. So it's gonna be the Boox for that. It's getting closer. 3, 2. The next one is teaching. Now, the Boox actually has a screen share mode. We come down here and we go to screen share. Very, very quickly, you can find devices on the local network. You can cast to that. There is no way currently to stream on the SuperNote. I really hope they add that soon. I know it's in their roadmap, but probably that software has taken a bit of time to develop. There's one thing to note though about the Boox Nova Air, which is currently when you're using screen share on the Notes app, which is what I'd really like to do as a teacher, whenever you touch the pen to the actual page, it actually inverts the screen share, so it's upside down. So that's obviously quite unusable. I know they're trying to fix that, they know it's a bug. It's a bit of a funny one because that doesn't happen on other Boox devices. It doesn't happen on the Note Air 2, which I've tried to do that with. It works perfectly. But Boox could be really powerful devices for teaching. Not only that, you can access OneNote on this device here. Again, however, it's not perfect. It's really not a perfect experience. They are trying to optimize it because they know that this is something that people really want, okay? To be able to do OneNote on here. And again, it's better on the Note Air 2. OneNote is almost usable on the Note Air 2. It's not perfect. They're still having trouble with the palm recognition. But you can see if I try and draw something in here, it just isn't always registering fluently. And that's, I think, just because of the input difference between the e-ink screen and an LCD screen. But I think they're working on that and it probably will get there. That would be really powerful for teaching. I also wish you could actually just use a USB-C dongle here to directly go to HDMI, because I'd be quite happy with that. Just plugging this thing in and using it, sitting down and chatting through some equations, etc. on the screen in the front of the classroom. So Boox, if you're watching, could you organize that for us, please? So both of these devices would be great for having your kind of lesson plan, your lesson notes on them, but neither of them are perfect for teaching yet. The one thing you could look at is a larger device that has more of a seamless screen sharing function, like perhaps the Onyx Boox Max devices, or maybe the QuirkLogic Paper. But the Boox is going to get this category. I think that's evens, isn't it? That's 3-all. So it's a close run thing, right? The last category we're going to conclude with is note taking. And that's probably the big one, because most people, if you're interested in these devices, you're looking for the best note taking experience. Am I right? So you let me know, not even just these things, but what is the one that you are looking for note taking out of all the ink tablets that are out there? Let me know in the comments. I've just chatted through some of the kind of features of this notebook. The default note app in the Boox devices is really good. There's nothing wrong with it at all. You've got different pens. I really like the new designs where you can have sort of saved pen types with different line widths and they can just be up there in your kind of quick access. I really like the collapsible panel that you can actually customize. And I really like, and then get rid of as well. And I really like all the things that you can do. For example, this is a text box. You can have an audio note. I just think it's fantastic. It's really good. There's loads to like about note taking on this. However, I just think to be a notebook, the SuperNote has got the edge. And the reason for that is because of this function up here. This is your sort of quick access table of contents within the notebook. The thing about that is as you're making a notebook, what you should look to do is to make titles. So if I select this word writing and I use this table of contents thing, it's going to hash it off like that, and it's going to leave it as a title within my workbook. And now I can have as many of these as I want, and it's just going to allow me to quickly navigate between anywhere in the table of contents that I've built. That's really, really powerful for note taking. And it doesn't stop there either. You can also do keywords, and keywords will let you search across the whole device. So if I wanted to make core a keyword, I can use this text recognition here. It will identify the keyword. I can edit if I need to. And now that is a key term within the notebook, which I can navigate to. I can find any instance of using that word there. That's really good. Well, that is to say any instance that I've turned into a keyword. And then the last thing, and this is what I think my wife is really excited about these devices for, is you can leave star marks. If you're at all interested in bullet journaling, you know, one of the kind of ideas of that is that you can leave little tasks and you have different notation for different tasks. I think I need to draw a star a little bit neater than that. On my little digest here, I can see all of my star marks. And it doesn't show me what that star mark is, of course, but what it does do is let me go to it. And once I'm finished with it, I can actually just delete that star mark and say, yep, I've done that task. I have completed that. So within your notebook, you can make a kind of to-do list, which is linked to the page where you've done that. And that's really, really powerful. If you're the type of person that makes notes and has to have like tasks within that notebook, then you will immediately see the use of that in organizing your professional life. As long as you take the time to use the SuperNote in that way that it's designed, it will really reward you. And that's the thing about the SuperNote, is that they've really thought about the way that professional people use their notebook, and they've tried to give you the features that will help you in that, rather than try and give you everything. And that's why it's going to win this category. This is the SuperNote. It is really for those who write. It is really to make your writing, your notebook, that little bit better. So the final score is 4-3 to the SuperNote. Been really close, and I hope you've enjoyed that comparison. But the SuperNote has just taken it. I haven't talked about some of the other things that you can do with it, of course. And I know, for example, that drawing using this just simple note-taking thing is really, really good. Whereas I think drawing using the limited tools on here won't be as good. And the possibilities, all the different things that you can actually do with the Onyx Boox are many, whereas there are limited possibilities with the SuperNote. I think if you know that you want the possibility to expand, and that there are possibilities and things you could do with it that aren't immediately obvious, and know that you might have to figure out some technical aspects on the way, then the Onyx Boox is probably for you. If you want something that you can just pick up and you know is going to be a super replacement for your notebook, then the SuperNote is the thing for you. And that's how you're going to make the choice. Do you want like a tablet, but unlike any tablet? Or do you want for those who write? Their taglines do really sum them up. Hope you enjoyed that, I hope that was useful. What's the choice going to be for you? Or are you going for some other thing? And let me know if there's other comparisons that you would like to see, or other categories that you don't think I'm considering well enough. Thanks so much for watching. Here's the next comparison video for you.